when you start a business, you are not signing up for a regular, normal-ass life. That's just the nature of it. It's funny, like entrepreneurs listening to this that have done it, they're like, duh. I mean, we've been to war and back. It's like, yeah, that's what it is. I'm Michael Mogill, founder and CEO of Crisp, the nation's #1 law firm growth company. I've built my business through practice, not theory. Crisp started with just $500 to my name and has grown to over 8 figures in revenue over the last few years, earning a spot on the Inc. 500 list of the fastest growing private companies in America. Our approach has been to take everything we've learned about generating massive growth within our own organization and help the country's most ambitious and committed law firm owners do the same for theirs. In each episode of this podcast, I sit down with innovative market leaders from the legal industry and beyond to learn from those who thrive in the face of adversity, challenge the status quo, and define what it means to be a true game changer.
This is Jessica, Head of Coaching Strategy at Crisp, and today we're flipping the script for another special edition episode to get Michael's take on why your choices reveal your commitments, the importance of working on your business when you're constantly stuck in it, and why coaching is the universal language of change and learning.
Find the person who aligns with your values, that has solved the types of challenges that you are encountering for people like you, has done so at scale. We've now had multiple coaches over the years. It has been one of the single best investments we've ever made.
That's coming up on the Game Changing Attorney podcast. Welcome back to a 10 out of 10 excitement of AMMA.
Here we are, ready to answer your questions. And you know what? I am actually very excited. I'm excited because I just saw a video that we had one of our oldest daughter. She's in the video. It's going to be a video that's a promotional video. We're going to be putting it out from Crisp. But I'm excited because she's going to love it. I can't say what the announcement is yet because it's a surprise. I think people will be very excited once they hear about it. It has to do with the summit and our grand prize giveaway. But I saw the video and she's going to love it. So I already put it on the iPad so she can see it tonight. But you know the best part? The best part is that you can put your kids on the payroll, and because, they're actors.
Talent.
They provide all sorts of services in terms of marketing and advertising and being in the videos, so you can put them on the payroll and they can get paid tax-free. Did you know?
Fun fact.
Yeah.
But we are not tax advisors.
We are not tax advisors. Do not take financial advice from a non-financial professional. Well, you can if you want to. Basically, decide whatever the hell you want to do. But if you have young kids and you have not integrated them into your business, consider the fact that these young individuals are living rent-free at your house and consuming your food and using your facilities and all your utilities. So the least that they can do is contribute to the business.
And with that,
yeah, let's do it. Let's get it to the AMMA. I don't know. Some people are going to be like, I can't believe you did that. Others are going to maybe find it interesting. Maybe some will find it funny. But if you did find it funny, you can go online and leave a 5-star review on either Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to the podcast, and it helps us reach more people. So I would encourage you, if you get any sort of value from this podcast, we keep it free. And we will always keep it free so long as you share the show and you leave us a 5-star review. And with that, Jessica, this is the AMMA where you guys submit the questions. You can text us at 404-531-7691. You can text me any questions that you have, and I'll answer them. Don't text me any weird photos, because I will not respond. But when you do submit good questions, they may appear on this show. And I know, Jessica, you do an amazing job of putting these together. I don't know what we've got for this week, but I'm excited to find out.
All right. You work best with the unknown. So first question today. I've recently started my own law firm, and I'm trying to balance all the responsibilities that come with it. I hear a lot about the importance of working on your business rather than in it, but I'm not entirely sure what that means in practice. Can you explain the difference and share suggestions for how I should make time for both?
Absolutely. I'll start off the short tale. So years ago, I knew a gentleman who was a dentist. And if you know a dentist, typically in a dental practice, they are doing all sorts of dental procedures and working in people's mouths all day long. And for years and years and years, this guy was working probably 70 hours a week, maybe 80 hours a week every day. And, he would ask me, sometimes we'd go out and he'd be like, Mike, I just feel like, why is my practice growing? And I was like, well, I didn't know at the time, but now I do know. And I've realized now that he was simply working in the business. He was literally working inside of patients' mouths, and he was the producer for the business all day long. He was just producing and producing and producing, and it was just enough to sustain himself and maybe his staff, but there was never enough to actually grow the business, and he never took any time to work on the business. So when you work in the business, it's when you're doing all the tasky stuff. It's maybe when you're doing the legal work, the trial work, whether you're handling payroll, whether you're doing anything that has to happen on a day-to-day basis, that is working in the business for the business to run on a consistent day-to-day basis. Now, working on the business is when you step back and you actually start to think strategically around what is our vision for the future of this firm and what are the types of things that we need to put in place. Maybe we need to hire certain people. Maybe we need to improve certain systems. Maybe we need to leverage technology. Maybe we need to better develop our team, all the things, and you're not thinking strategically. So when you're working in the business, it's all about the present, the now, the now, the now. And when you're working on the business, it's all about the future. And it's not to say that it shouldn't be a mix of both. I mean, especially when you're starting out, right? You're going to spend, most of your time working in the business. You have to. But if you never take the time out to actually zoom out a little bit, and this is why we do our workshops in Atlanta. People are like, why don't you do the workshops virtually or remotely? No, it'd be so convenient for me. Yeah, it would be very convenient for you to be working in the business and have a Zoom up while you're in Slack or you're in Teams or you're answering emails and you got people coming in and bothering you and you got your phone ringing up. So are you really going to work on your business unless you get away and step away from your office and get on an airplane and fly to Atlanta where you can be around other firm owners also working on their business, and then you can come back empowered and making a lot of really positive changes. And that's how these firms grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. But the second part of the question is like, how do I balance both? Well, there's a number of ways to do it. If you're able to, especially what I used to do early on was I used to have dedicated days to where certain days, I think it was Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I would focus strictly on doing all the tasky items, all my meetings, all the things that needed to happen on a day-to-day basis, whether it was like running the payroll, whether it was responding to emails, like anything. And then on those Tuesdays and Thursdays, I would focus on the strategic things, right? Whether I was building relationships, laying out kind of the marketing plan, whether we were, analyzing hiring needs, putting together like just strategy for the future overall. And then we would execute on that on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Now, let's say you're listening to this and you're saying, well, I can't do that. I can't just block out my week like that. I have clients and I have calls throughout the week. Okay, well, then you can block out certain periods of the day, right? Maybe the first half of the day goes to the strategy. Maybe the second half of the day goes to the working in the business and everything you have to do. Then there's the other person listening saying, I can't do that either. My days start early. Okay, well, here's what you can do, motherfucker. You can go to bed early, 8 p.m. or 9 p.m., and you can wake up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., and you can work from 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. on the firm, and then, like a reasonable human being, you can go take a shower, have some breakfast, get into the office, and then for the rest of the time, work in the business. So you can always find a way. It just comes down to, is it important for you to set up your future and the future of the firm and actually grow this thing, or are you going to continue to make excuses why you can't do the things you need to do?
Great. I could not agree more. All right, moving on to number 2. So I've been hearing from my peers about the benefits of having a business coach or mentor, but I'm skeptical about their effectiveness. How do I know if this kind of support is right for me and my firm?
Yeah, these days everyone's a coach. And you got coaches coaching coaches, coaching coaches. And then until you get to the final boss level, coach. But coaches are effective. I mean, Tom Brady had a coach and he won Super Bowls. So the way to think about this, I go back in time. And I remember what year this was. This might have been, maybe it was 2016. And we had grown the business. I think we were right at $1 million, maybe a little bit over $1 million. It was you and I, Jessica. We didn't have a huge team. Our office is tiny. It was like 1,200 square feet. And we were just struggling to break through to the next level. And I read this book, and the guy was a business coach. So I picked up his book on Amazon. And I was like, let me reach out to this guy who offers coaching service. I'd never done any coaching before in my life. I didn't know what that was all about, but I liked the book, and I figured, I don't know what I don't know. Maybe I can get some help. And I remember reaching out and speaking with him, and when he quoted me the price, it was $5,000 a month. I had to take a walk around the office, like outside.
Yes.
I went on a walk. I went multiple laps.
We contemplated this.
We sat down, we contemplated. I had to go to the bathroom. And at the time, it was like $5,000 a month. And it was like calls, I think it was twice a month, and that was it. 2 calls a month. That was it. None of the cool stuff that we're doing now.
None of that.
Like none of the workshops, none of this on-site trainings, no video content, nothing. Just it was 2 calls a month. And we debated and debated and debated. And in the end, we ended up pulling the trigger. And when I got on the call with him, I learned like, okay, so this is what this coaching is all about. He would ask me questions and I would think about my thinking and help provide me with clarity. And we would lay out kind of a plan, and then we would get on like the subsequent calls. It would be accountability. Did I execute? And if I was paying $5,000 a month, we were doing everything.
We did everything.
We discussed 8 items. Man, all 8 got done by the next call immediately. I mean, literally as soon as I hung up the phone, I went to work. And we did that every single time. And I believe that year the business went from $1 million to $5 million. We 5x'd. And just having this type of clarity and confidence was invaluable. I had somebody that I could call if I had a question, if I didn't know what to do, if I, hit a challenge that I just didn't know how to overcome. And the best part was they didn't just give me the answer. They just say, do this, right? Because I thought that's what it would be. They would ask me the types of questions that would help me better assess and analyze the problem, and so I could become a better critical thinker and that I could make better decisions. They empowered me so that I could actually become better. And, the best types of coaches, like, they help you level up. Remember that show, like, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Oh, yeah.
Where you can call,
phone a friend.
Like, in some respects, it's that. They don't just give you the answer. It's not like yes or no. They help you think about the problem in a way because every scenario is different. And it's really empowering you to make the right approach. And again, we 5x'd. So I'm a big believer in having the right coach and having the right mentor. So it's someone who, you can trust, that will hold you accountable, right? There's different types of coaches, right? I like the tough love coach because, look, I didn't need a buddy.
No.
Okay? I didn't need motivation. I didn't need anyone to coach me on like, hey, man, get inspired today. Like, work hard today. I was like, listen, man, I'll do whatever it takes. I'll run through walls, okay? If you ask me to go on Fear Factor and drink bull testicles and that's what it takes to scale our business, I will do that. And unfortunately, he didn't ask me to do that.
Correct, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that works. And then what's the difference between like an effective coach and an ineffective coach? Because there's a lot of coaches out there. We could do a whole podcast just on this. I mean, it really comes down to, do they have the results? And have they helped people like you solve problems like you have? And not just have they done it for themselves, just for one person, because I see, respectfully, a lot of lawyer coaches that, grew their law firm, one type of law firm, advising all other lawyers of like, if you just do what I did, right? But that doesn't always make sense because what they did may have worked for their practice area in their market at the time in which they were doing it, but may not work for somebody in a different practice area in a different market at a different period of time. There was a time where you could do a lot of traditional advertising and billboards and TV because other lawyers weren't doing it. There was a time where the yellow pages worked and that's, how they grew versus now it's like, good luck. Imagine they told you, oh yeah, just do what I did. Just get, do the phone book ads. You'd be like, are you out of your fucking mind? What phone book? What are you talking about? Oh yeah, just get on TV. Okay, do you know the price right now for a TV commercial versus what it was 20 years ago? Oh yeah, just get on a billboard. I'm sorry, other lawyers have taken all of them. So that's why it's important to find someone who's helping people that like are like you, solve problems like the ones you have now, and has done it continuously and successfully at scale so that you know that you're not like a one-of-one type scenario. And then there's, of course, a lot else that goes into it. Sometimes I think it really just comes down to who you like, who you align with on values. I generally am not a fan of taking advice from people that I wouldn't want to trade places with. So meaning that if I see someone that may be a financial success, but their kids don't know their names, and let's say they're completely out of shape, and they just look like an absolute fucking disaster, I'd say, well, I don't really know that that's the one for me, right? But that's just me personally. Somebody else may not care. It may not be as important to them. I like to find someone that's like, look, the relationship you have with your family is just as important as your success in the business, and then also the way in which you take care of yourself and your health, right? I like to make sure I get that full package there, right? Sometimes there's other things that don't matter. I don't care if they play golf. I don't play golf, That doesn't matter to me. But I do think that it's important that they have those different buckets and that they're not just dialed in on one particular area, that they ultimately are living a great life or a life worth living, etc. So that's just me, but you have to find out what's important to you and what your values are. So aligning on values, sometimes you align on personalities. Some people like certain personalities, others don't like certain personalities. That's okay. I mean, we see this even in our coaching program. We're very, very selective in terms of who we allow into the program because I only want killers. If someone tells me, when we ask them, hey, how committed are you to solving this problem? And you tell them, okay, well, scale of 1 to 10, and they give you a fucking 5, a 6, or a 7. I say, no thanks. Good luck. We're not for you. The ones that we work with and the ones that see the best results, they'd say, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10. 10. They don't even hesitate. They'll say, yeah, I'll do whatever it takes. So long as it's legal and ethical, I will do whatever it takes. I'm that committed to solving this problem because it's that important to me. It's that important for me to grow my law firm. It's that important for me to be able to solve these challenges so that I can support the people in my life, so I can support my team, so I can make a great impact for my clients. That is why I am here. That I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Now that person, come right in. But if you're like, I don't know, I'm thinking about it, maybe in the next few months, maybe if I ask my dog for permission and then I'll call my daddy and I'll see if he allows me to do it. I'm like, nope, goodbye. Go read the book or listen to the podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, thank you. You don't want a community of wannabes.
People.
Yeah, I mean, that's exhausting, right? Because then everybody just gets together and they just all complain. And they're like, why am I not getting the results that I want from the work that I'm not doing, right? It's just like, it's so unfair, right? No thanks, right? You want to be around people who take ownership and they're kicking ass. And yes, there's going to be challenges you're going to have to overcome. And yes, there's going to be adversity. But there's going to be people that say, you know what? Work harder. Let's go. Let's get this done. Let's figure this out. Quit feeling sorry for yourself. So my answer here is find the person who aligns with your values, that has solved the type of challenges that you are encountering for people like you, has done so at scale, and make that investment. Because when we invest in our coach early on, and we've now had multiple coaches over the years, it has been one of the single best investments I know we've ever made. And we've come a long way from that $1 million back in 2016.
Yes.
A long ass way.
Yeah. All right. To round us out today with number 3. So as a new law firm owner, I'm finding it challenging to balance my work and personal life. Any suggestions?
Man.
Here we go.
I'm telling you, there's people just trying to piss me off. I think we got to start filtering these a little better, because I'm convinced that sometimes people just submit these questions just to rally me up.
Here we go.
So this is a new law firm owner who says they're struggling to balance their work commitments with their personal life.
Yes.
I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I really do not know what to tell you. I think the fact that you're even asking this question tells me that perhaps you do not have what it takes. I could eliminate years and years of pain for you if you just stop right now. Shut this firm down and go apply, maybe go on Indeed and go work at another law firm. Go back where you came from. You will eliminate years of pain in the future, because the fact that you are even having this question right now tells me you have no idea what you signed up for. You want to have a balance of your personal life and your work life, and you just started your firm. Do you want to be successful? All right, let me simplify this. All right, I'm going to calm down, because I'm trying to not like reach through the microphone and strangle this human being, but maybe they just don't know what they don't know. It's okay. So when you decide to start a business, you are making a choice that you are going to bet on yourself. And you are entering a market where you are competing with other people who've also decided to bet on themselves. Now, the challenge here of what makes business hard is sometimes you don't start on level 1. So even though you've just started and you're new to this, you're competing against people who are on level 50 and level 100 that have been doing this for decades, and they are your competitors right out of the gate, which makes it really hard. And sometimes the only way you can compete early on, when you don't have the resources and the financial means to go dollar for dollar, is in your time. So you have to put in that sweat equity. That involves certain trade-offs. So meaning that when you choose to do something, that means you are unable to do something else. Okay? So typically, when you start a business, especially if it's your first business, that means in order to be successful, you got to go all in. Now, in the event you say, well, you know what? I want a lifestyle business. I want to be able to do 20, 30 hours a week, and I don't want to work on Fridays, and I'm going to work remote, and I'm going to be, virtual, and we're going to do this, and I'm going to automate everything, and I'm going to use AI, and okay, you're going to go broke. You are 100% going to go broke, or you're going to stay small, or you're going to struggle forever. What you have done is you've created another job for yourself, where the only difference between whatever you left from to what you came to is now that you essentially have no safety net. You are competing against people way more resources than you, and you are simply unwilling to do what it takes to even be competitive, which means you are going to get stomped. You are going to get crushed. Life will be even harder for you, and it will never get easier until you start taking the shit seriously. That's all I can say, because the fact that you're even asking this, and again, it doesn't mean you have to cut out friends entirely. Sometimes people hear things like this and they think it's absolutes.
They're your real friends.
There's no nuance.
They're supporting it.
Maybe you see them every few weeks, or maybe you see them once a month. But when you start a business, you are not signing up for a regular, normal-ass life. That's just the nature of it. You gotta, it's funny, like entrepreneurs listening to this that have done it, they're like, duh. We've been to war and back. It's like, yeah, that's what it is. And I feel like this individual is confused because maybe they were watching too much TikTok that convinced them that they could be making 40 grand a month just because they took some online course and now they started a business and they're entitled to be number one in the market when there's other people who've been doing it for much longer and have been taking risk and investing, and they think that they should be on the same level and allowed the same things, and they think they should have an iPhone, and they too should live in $1 million home, and they too should be driving around in a G-Wagon. Why don't I have these things right away? Well, you've done nothing. You provided no value whatsoever. You haven't differentiated yourself. There's no clear value proposition. There's no compelling reason for anybody to hire you over anybody else yet. You have no competitive advantage. And if you have no competitive advantage, the only thing you can do is work your ass off until you do. So how do you balance it? Remove that word from your life. You have not earned balance. You do not deserve balance. You have made this choice, and you either go all in and be committed to it, or prepare yourself for a lifetime of suffering. And that is all I'm going to say on that.
Thank you all for tuning in.
All right. Have a great one.
You've been listening to the Game Changing Attorney podcast with Michael Mogill. If you found this episode valuable, here are 3 free ways that we can help you grow your law firm. Number 1, download the first chapter of Michael's book absolutely free at gamechangingattorney.com. Number 2, you can shoot Michael a text at 404-531-7691 and ask him any question you'd like. You might just hear the answer on the next episode. And finally, number 3, if you can leave this podcast a 5-star review, it will help us gain access to more influential thought leaders and bring their lessons learned here to you. For more information on this episode, see the show notes in your podcast app or visit legalpodcast.com.